Guys, I'm outside in my backyard right now. It's just one thing I wanted to come on and basically talk about and discuss today is there's an all-out assault on the root chakra, on the male and female genitalia. It's very obvious. It's very hidden in plain sight when it comes to media, when it comes to Hollywood, and also when it just comes to the pornography that men and women consume on a daily basis, since, as we all probably know, pornography sites are the most viewed sites on the internet. That is the cold, hard, dark secret of the internet. There's many great things about the internet, and there's some very, very sick and sinister things about the internet. But one of the things I wanted to get into today is just, you have a lot of men basically saying, oh, I'm fine with being alone. Men are used to being alone. You know, I don't need to be around a woman. I'm just going to go MGTOW. I'm just going to, men going their own way, you know, essentially speaking. You know, women are a liability and such. Like, you see all these men saying these things and stuff like that. And it's just like, no, you aren't. Like, no, you're not. Like, look at the male suicide rate. Like, you can't even be alone. You can't even, like, I mean, you're going to kill yourself if you're alone. That's essentially, like, and a lot of red pillars will deny this. They'll just be like, oh, you know, he's weak. He's not a real man, if this or that. Just basically reigniting the same toxic masculine stereotypes. Basically, like, oh, you're not man enough. You're not a real man if this or that. You're not a real man if you're crying. You're not a real man if, you know, you're not a real man if you're vulnerable, per se. It's like a lot of this stuff where it's like, oh yeah, you know, we tell men, like, we need to get into mental health, we need to get into therapy and stuff like that. It's like, okay, great, so why aren't you being vulnerable? It's like, because that's for weaklings. It's like, that's literally what this red pillar dude said. This guy who is like fucking depressed, literally an alcohol addict, went through child abuse, and just absolutely hated women, just completely, just the most disgusting stuff he used to, like, that's the thing. I'm used to it because it's like I've been in that pipeline before, because I myself previously was sexually assaulted by 2 female teachers at the age of 6 repeatedly. And it's just, so that's the thing. I mean, like, having something like that traumatic happen to you at such a young, tender age when it comes to your, you know, your sexuality, it's like you're fucking innocent. You're really innocent. It's like, for something like that to happen to you, I'm not surprised. Like, looking back on it, like, I was so vulnerable to, like, falling into the red pill and falling into, like, a lot of these, like, you know, the rabbit hole, manosphere, you know, alpha male guru, pickup artistry. Like, that's the thing. Like, there's some pretext to red pill you could say is true. Like, you know, just common sense wise, basically. But essentially just common sense shit. It's not even like red pill, it's not even gendered, it's just like common sense, basically. But like, when it comes to just these men today, I am seeing so many women like, just, oh, I'm gonna decenter men, I'm not gonna be with men anymore, I'm not gonna even date men, I'm not even gonna entertain. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's the thing. We might see these crying TikTok videos and stuff like that on, you know, these social media sites of like women saying, I can't find this, I can't get this or that, basically. And then these red pill men laughing and stuff like that. And a lot of these red pill men that are laughing, it's like, dude, you're literally the same person. Like, you're single, you can't even get anything. The reason you probably haven't cried in like 6 or 8 years. The longest I went without crying, I remember, was like, I think it was like 6.5 years. It's like, I didn't cry for 6.5 years. Like, any shit that happened to me, I'm sorry, I thought that was a rattlesnake. But basically speaking, like, I just, like, seeing what I fell into, I can see how so many men are vulnerable to that. Like, they're so vulnerable to it because they have the loneliness, they have had some trauma previously, whether it's physical abuse at the hands of mother or father, or when it comes to sexual abuse, either or, essentially speaking, or teacher or adult. So it's like, I see how men can be very vulnerable to this kind of stuff. But when it comes to like women, when it comes to like celibacy and stuff like that, I'm seeing it more and more and more. Like just women saying, I'm staying celibate. This is why I've been celibate for 6 years. This is why I've been celibate for 8 years. This is why I've been celibate for 2 years. This is why I just became celibate after my breakup. I'm seeing the same thing with men. Like a lot of people, they are just, they're going into their hermit mode mentality, essentially speaking, for their root chakra. And it's just because of this. Like, I mean, I heard this one red pill dude, I mean, his name's like Legion of Men. He was like talking about how he got burned. He was going to marry this girl and he got completely burned. His name is Bo-rific, but he just moved to Romania. But besides the point, when it comes to this woman, like, he got completely burned. He thought he was going to marry her, and he went fucking crazy. I mean, he just hated women, essentially. Every single girl, it's like, I remember, like, he said this in one of his videos, his recent videos that came out. I slept with a new girl for 7 days in a row. Like, he got with a woman Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like, literally, I'm like, yeah, you definitely need you need to like heal. You need to talk to somebody. That's sex addiction. That's like sex addiction. It's like, and we always tell men like, oh yeah, to get over her, you need to sleep with multiple women and such like that. And then it's like you have these dudes that are like going overseas and they're buying like prostitutes. They're buying like underage girls and shit like that, thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just be rid of my ex-lover, or I'm gonna just be rid of a lot of these things I used to do. Like, I can't be a simp anymore. I can't be a gentleman anymore. I can't even hold the door open for a woman anymore. Like, here's the thing. One of the previous things I used to believe in was this: unless if you're a woman that's 50 or 50 and up or disabled, I am not holding the door open for you. It's seriously it's so fucked up. Like, just looking back on it, I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Like I was 17 at the time. I was like 17 and shit. And it's like, literally, like, sometimes I would literally hold the door open for like a 50-year-old woman, which is like, I could tell she was like in her 50s, or I could tell she was disabled because, or she was elderly. I'd always be nice to elderly people, always. Same with men of all ages, I'd be courteous and stuff. But it's like women who were 20 years of age, I used to literally like look at them with like a deviant smile, like this. I used to give them this smile, like, and just slam the door, like, literally just slam the door. Like, I used to, like, I look back on it, I'm like, that was so fucking rude. Like, that was so fucked up. Like, seriously, it's like, who does that? Like, seriously. So it's just like, yeah, like, when it comes to like men and healing their sexuality and their root chakra, I'm just gonna tell you women this right now. I'm the lucky few that has done so much fucking healing and has also healed others, but it's just, I'm sorry to tell you women this. I'm gonna be just blunt honest with you. Most men are not gonna make it. Most men are not gonna make it. They are not gonna make it. They are not going to ever step out of these like old toxic, because here's the thing, there's good traits of masculine traits like chivalry and saving people and helping people. Like, those are the old traits as well. I'm not saying every single trait of traditional masculinity is bad. It's not. There's some that's amazing, and I completely agree with, and I even practice myself. But I'm sorry to tell you ladies this, like, a lot of men are gonna just die alone. A lot of men are gonna just wither away. And I'm not gonna say this kindly, I'm not saying this happily, I'm not saying this with like laughing, like, some feminist who hates men on TikTok. A lot of men are gonna self-delete themselves. A lot of men are. A lot of men are actually doing that right now. They are self-deleting themselves. A lot of them are. Like, it's just, they can't do this. They cannot maintain like a false masculine image for their whole entire lives. Like, it's just becoming just a completely emotionally devoided man, essentially. Because it's like, one of my friends, like, his uncle, stupidly, he was like feverishly alpha male, like feverishly toxically masculine, essentially. Like, he believed it all. Like, never cry in front of a woman, never cry this, never do this. You know, hey, if you accidentally put a nail gun through your hand. Essentially speaking, I'm sorry I'm back. It's just the memory cut out. I'm still transferring memory onto my old 2013 iMac, which is, you can imagine, incredibly slow. So it's just, that's the thing. So this man, like the wife ended up actually leaving him. You know, my friend's uncle, who was like rigidly masculine, she ended up leaving him. And the reason why is because he wouldn't even help her. He wouldn't even help her. He wouldn't even like do like anything around the house. Like even if she was sick, he would literally just scoff and smirk at her like, I'm not a housewife. Hey honey, can you pick up the clothes or this or that? I'm not a maid. Like seriously, he would just degrade. It was bad. Like it was really bad. Like it was pretty fucking bad. And finally she just ended up like, even when it came to sex, like I mean, she would want to like do a face front position, you know, like facing each other and stuff like that, you know. And he would literally just be like literally, you think I want to be on top? I'm a man. Like literally, you think I want to face you? I rear it from the end. Like what the fuck? It was bad. Like seriously, it's like, and then like when his wife left him after like 20 years of fucking bullshit, it's like, and just essentially just, I mean, he even said this about counseling. He even said this about therapy. He was just like, as soon as your relationship or marriage ends up in therapy, that's it. It's over. Like literally, you're just gonna have some woman monologuing for your wife. That's how. Like, it was stupid. It really was. Like, so it's like she ended up leaving him. And then the last thing he said was like this: you see, they're all the same. You pay for the puh for no matter what. That's how he fucking said. And this, and just mind you, like he talks like a teenager. He's 57 years old and he talks like a fucking child. Like it's just. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sorry for you women out there. Like, unless if you meet a man like myself who's divinely masculine, or a man who's even higher divinely masculine than myself, I'm sorry to tell you, you're not gonna. You're probably gonna have to stay celibate. You're probably gonna have to stay single for a while. Like seriously, because a lot of men, as I said previously, a lot of men, this is it. This is what they are. This is what they have been encoded to be. This is their serial number. This is their manufacturer number. They're done. Like it's unfortunate. They can't change. Sometimes they can change under harsh circumstances, like in psychedelic therapy, essentially. Like I've probably, you know, you can go back and see older videos on my YouTube. I talked about psychedelics, which I've done and practiced, and in instances like that, you can save a person. But there's some instances where it's like the dude's done every single drug to man. He just sleeps around with multiple women, and it's like you can't help this dude. Like seriously, at this point, he's just you cannot send a complaint to manufacturer when it comes into regards of these kind of men. You can't. You literally can't. They're just, this is how they are. This is what they are. And a lot of women don't want to fucking date that anymore. They don't. They don't want to date some dude who's like, oh, I'm not going to cry in front of my woman. I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to do this sex position because it's a feminine sex position. I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to go down my, like, guys, like, I've heard alpha males, these supposed like alpha male gurus, they've literally shamed men for going down their women. Like, it's like, I mean, you can tell these men don't get any women. Like, they have to pay to get women. And it's like, it comes into familiarity when it comes to the passport bros. Because again, this is a symptom. This is the symptom of the broken masculine. This is why they sleep with all these like women. They pay for these women. They sleep with these underage girls and shit like that. They do that shit because they want to hurt women. They're broken inside, and they want to completely get rid of whatever kind of love they had for a woman. That is the truth. Because I have seen how these men behave. I've seen how they move. I know how they move because I used to be one of them. I'm 24 years of age now. I've never slept with anyone who's underage. Thank fucking God I wasn't that depraved of a piece of shit. But same, like just seeing how these men are, like it's like, yeah, no, fixing them is very challenging, but it's extremely challenging, and most of them are not going to be fixed. Most of them are not ever going to want to feel that hardness for a woman again. They're not. They want to just put on a fucking save face and be an alpha male, essentially speaking, and just put on a fake face and just live with that fake face for the rest of their lives, or until they, you know, and it's just like that's the thing. And shaming these men, like, yeah, shame passport bros, shame these alpha male gurus, but just know this deep down inside, they are fucking miserable inside. They are completely miserable inside. They hate a lot of the shit that they've had to been through when it comes to being traumatized by a woman, essentially speaking. Whether it was like myself, through being sexually assaulted, or worse, or, you know, a relationship breakup or cheating, or just having fucking assets garnished completely. A lot of these men are very, very, very broken inside. And it's just, honestly, psychedelics, I think, would save a lot. But at the same time, I'm sorry to tell you, women, a lot of these men, they're going down. They are going down. The old toxic traditional masculine, it's falling apart. It's falling the fuck apart. That's why they're passing these laws, you know, to like control a woman's body and stuff like that. What a woman can do with her body, abortion, pro-choice. You know, I'm pro-choice, but it's just, that's why they're passing all this shit. You know, meanwhile Republicans are getting their wives abortions, you know, or they're getting their prostitute mistresses abortions, you know, because they don't want to get caught. So it's just, a lot of this shit is falling apart. A lot of this patriarchal norms and shit like that women have to use to accept. Like, that's the thing. When a woman says, I don't need a man, out of anger, it's like, okay, listen, bitch, go get some fucking help. Get the fuck out. Like, that's easy to, like, off-put. That's easy to spot very quickly. But when a woman says, I don't need a man, just simply, like, you know, I don't need a man, but I want a man, essentially speaking, like, the truth is this. Women back then had to need a man to basically survive. That was the only way. And then if their husband died, or if their husband's tribe took over or something like that, or that her husband died because the tribe took over, she would go to that person who killed her husband, again, to survive. That's literally what it was back then. I mean, it wasn't until literally 50 years ago women could finally have a credit card, women could finally have a bank account, women could finally own property, literally for, you know, I mean, or a car, literally, so they could drive, essentially speaking. Like, a lot of people forget that. And same with black people. Since I'm a brown person, you know, I'm mixed myself. And it's just, when it comes to, like, marry who you want to marry, or love who you want to love, or have sex with who you want to have sex with, like, a lot of people, especially white people, I'd have to say, they forget that that was literally a fucking felony, like, 60 years ago, like 50, like, literally during our parents' generation. If you had boomer parents, it was literally illegal to, like, hold hands with a white girl, or hold hands with a black girl, or vice versa. It was literally illegal to do those things. You couldn't even get a hotel room back then as a single man. Like, you know, so because that's the thing. You have a lot of these men that say, like, oh, I wanted to return to the 50s, Project 2025 and stuff like that, when women used to be women and men used to be men. It's like, dude, single men and single women, they couldn't even get a hotel room back then. They couldn't. They had to be married. Like, literally, in the 50s, if you tried to rent a hotel, you could not get a hotel room for the night. You had to be married. There was literally hotels that discriminated against single people. They would not have single people at all, literally. So it's like, you really want to return to a time where it's, you know. So I know I'm just rambling on, but it's just, yeah, I'm ending this video, and I'm gonna just say this to the women. Yeah, unless if you meet a man like myself who's like, okay, he's done the work, he's divinely masculine, or a man who's like higher vibration than myself, unless if you, I'm sorry to tell you guys, you're not you're gonna have to stay celibate. That's the truth. And a lot of the men out there who I'm also giving this message out to is this. I mean, when it comes to regards to friendships, when it comes to regards to companionship, please keep in touch with your friends. Please keep in touch with your male friends. Like it's like, dude, like why is it that like I move away, and it's like all of a sudden like a lot of my male friends have just completely just vanished off the face of the earth. Like here's the thing, I still talk to my gal friends, I still talk to my female friends, but it's like the men have just completely dropped off the face of the earth. Like, why is that? Like, seriously, can you guys just stop doing that? Like, please? Like, I mean, there's a reason why I talk to you guys. There's a reason why I talk to you, you know, and I wanted to hang out and stuff like that. There's a reason. It's not because, oh, I just want to get something from you. No. I like to hang out with men. I like to hang out with women. I like to hang out with people indiscriminately. And that's how I know that I'm a healed person, essentially speaking. And I don't have some, you know, gender biasness on who I want to hang out with. Men and women can't be friends. Like, I don't have that biases, which is amazing, which is really, really good. And I definitely hope and wish for more men to definitely have that. Speaking to you guys to the camera, thank you so much for watching. And please like, share, and subscribe. And enjoy this beautiful view.